Welcome to the Comics Experiment, the show right here at Comicstorian, where we sit down and talk about various things in the comic book world, from going through other people's lists, or talking about the latest news on Phase 4, or doing both of those things in one single video. Wow. Both at once! Wow!
They said the technology wasn't there, but here we are.
We combined them! It's like peanut butter and peanut butter. I'm not good at analogies.
Chunky and smooth.
Oh!
There you go, right?
Isn't that just like chunky smooth?
It's a diluted chunky smooth. You know?
We stream this live on twitch.tv/eligiblemonster every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can also support us by going to... Just subscribe to the channel. Go to the Twitch channel.
Just subscribe, man. Come on, man.
Oh, I'm used to having like an ad spot where you go and you can support us by going to For Hymns or Insert Ad.
Yeah.
Today, our guest hosts of the day for today are, well, I'm having problems right now.
What day is it?
My brain's just shutting down on me. Greg and Tim from...
Kinda funny.
That's
you're
us.
not going to dilute the waters this time?
YouTube.com/kindafunny. He can stay on message. That's why I hang out with him.
Yeah.
Because we were like beforehand, what do we promote, right? YouTube.com/kindafunny.
Yeah.
And then Nick was like, or YouTube.com/kindafunnygames. And I was like, no, and they started saying Patreon, and then it was Twitch. And then before you know it.
YouTube.com/kindafunny. Ring the bell, ding-a-ling-ding, all the stuff.
I liked yours.
You know
just Google Kinda Funny.
Yeah, you'll find it.
You'll find it. You'll get it all.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're comic book guys, they're video game guys, and today we're going to talk about Phase 4.
Oh, man, my favorite phase yet.
So,
You don't know that.
I know it.
So I got a list from Screen Rant that we're going to go through, and I'm going to check the date, but from what I saw, it looks like they made this long before the leaks and everything happened.
Perfect.
So, before we even go into that, though, how did you feel about the last 10 years of the MCU? In 60 seconds, go!
Amazing. I loved it so much. I can't believe they made me care so much about Iron Man and Captain America. I can't believe they've given us the best live-action Spider-Man of all time. I can't believe Endgame is the best movie of all time. I can't believe that everything's been so fantastic, and then Cap had the hammer. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Avengers Assemble, amazing.
Okay, 60 seconds, and you can't repeat anything he just said.
Oh, that's totally fine. I feel like we got to witness the greatest achievement in cinematic history, and I cannot believe that I got to be a part of that one day I'm going to have kids. I'm only going to have kids so I'll be able to tell them that I was there and I cried during Endgame multiple times, having seen it multiple times, crying every damn time. There's just something very special about it. I feel like they've really managed, especially in Phase 3, to bring it all together and kind of go above and beyond what we could think superhero movies could be. And I feel like at this point, it is redefining what Hollywood can be.
I want to know what you're going to do with their kids after you've told them you cried at Iron Man. What's next for them after
Send
that?
them to the sweatshop. Make some money for Daddy and his Funko Pops.
I've told the story a million times at this point, but it's like I grew up with my mom and dad, but my dad specifically, like telling me stories of seeing Return of the Jedi in theaters, seeing Empire Strikes Back in theaters, and not knowing what was going to happen and having to wait years to experience that. And when they reissued the original trilogy in the late 90s leading into Episode 1, my mom and dad took me to see them. And I remember like their excitement of being able to relive all of that. Like I feel like one day I'm going to be able to do that with the MCU.
No, and you know, it's totally different to see the Star Wars movies in relation now, where you can just watch all three and you already know what's going to happen, really. Yeah. I mean, because it's spoiled long before. It's like watching Matrix. You already know the whole plot before even going into it. So it's going to be different in 10 years when people go back to the MCU and they're like, oh, well, he dies. He dies at the ending. We can watch them all back to back.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, that's great. Can you imagine when you sit down with your kids for the first time and start showing them these? All the way from the beginning.
Are you going to start from Iron Man, or are you going to start like Captain Marvel, do them chronologically?
No, I hate this crap. That's not how we're doing it. All right?
Release order. Always release order.
You got to experience it the same way we all did.
The first time you watch them, it has to be release order. If you want to, on your like upteenth viewing of them, do some type of machete shit, I'm down for that.
We don't curse in this show.
We don't.
No, we
okay,
don't curse
sorry. It's gonna be real
Parents
hard
writing down numbers.
Sorry about that. But no, I got to experience something really cool with my fiance recently. Going into Endgame last year, where she had not seen any of the Marvel movies at all, and like maybe she saw Ant-Man and she saw this here, that there, but like had no context for it all.
Right.
And I remember in theaters she hated them because she's just like she didn't understand the language of superhero movies. But then when we went back and watched one after the other, week after week, starting with Iron Man leading into Infinity War, she really got a love and an understanding of how to speak the language of superheroes and superhero movies, so that when you get to something like Guardians of the Galaxy, it had a much bigger impact, where you understand that this is special because it's different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like now having all the way up to Endgame, like it's just such a crazy feat that they accomplished that, and that you're able to now watch 22 movies and feel all sorts of different things about hundreds of characters.
Yeah. I like that Tim says that was the cool moment. The coolest moment of Tim is fiance in the introduction of superheroes. I wasn't even next to them. I heard about it after the flight, though. They were watching Batman Begins on a plane. And when Martha and Thomas get killed, she went, and he's like, you didn't know Batman's parents get killed?
She had no idea. And now she knows who
Wonder Woman.
Drax is. You know what I mean?
He was going more obscure than Wonder Woman. She's a little popular. I don't know if you're aware of this. I mean, that W's kind of everywhere.
It's cool. I mean, but to me, that is the accomplishment of what Kevin Feige and the team has created over the last couple decades. It's nuts, man.
Oh, it is. It's incredible. And like I told them in the last podcast, and I'll say to you, like, I feel that Infinity War was a crappy movie, but I think it's an incredible achievement and completion to the MCU.
You mean Endgame or
no, Infinity War?
Oh, okay.
I because they don't introduce anybody in Infinity War. It's been my argument.
See, but my argument to that is like I don't think that they need to because the movie does such a good job of explaining the character dynamics of how they interact with each other that even going in blind, I still think that it would work. It would work as a movie. It's not the best.
Get as much
what we need to get is someone like your fiance who hasn't seen any of it.
Well, now she's downloaded with everything. It's too late.
Yeah, so we got to get someone else and bring them into Infinity War.
We have to time travel back. Get her.
Because that's all I need. I need one person who has seen nothing to either validate or tell me I'm stupid. That's what I need.
So here's the thing. One of my fiance's friends was in a similar situation where she had seen none of them, but wanted to watch Endgame and was like, she was not about to watch 22 movies. And I understood that. So I was trying to.
I was like people trying to jump into Game of Thrones. Oh, it's the last season? I'll catch up. No, you're not.
No, you should have, though. But the thing for me was how like, you definitely should have. There are at least 7 great seasons of that show. I was trying to figure out what the minimum viable viewing order was to get her up to speed. Right. And we got it down to about 5 movies.
It's mostly Avengers, isn't it? And Winter Soldier.
Mostly, yeah.
Civil War, actually.
Civil War,
that's what I'm
Civil War and
of,
Guardians.
because Guardians is your introduction to the whole cosmic space thing. You're going to do that. Yeah,
exactly. But getting it in there, I mean, I feel like that's not that much setup. Granted, it is a couple more movies, but like by the time you get to Infinity War was one of them, right? Yeah. So then once you get that, it's like you kind of understand.
Enough to get into it.
Yeah.
Cool I want to ask because you brought up a thing about not watching, just a kind of a slight tangent, but it's on topic to an extent.
Let's do it, man. Let's tangent.
Don't watch them chronologically. Watch them the order they were released. And I only I would have argued with you a week ago, except I was watching a video about the Metal Gear Solid storyline and them stating you can't do it chronologically. It has to be the order they were released. Yeah, so you catch on to things that were never answered and experience it like a fan did.
Let alone the gameplay mechanics.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna play all the most modern ones. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 5 is great. Let me put in Metal Gear on NES. Like what the hell is going on?
I mean, to me, I feel like the creators have a vision for how you're supposed to take things, whether it's reveals or
the reveals is a big thing.
Or references. It's like if you watch Star Wars Episode 1 and it's like you see the ridiculous like over the top introductions of R2-D2, you're like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't give you any type of connection to it, right? And I feel like with Fast and the Furious, that's something that, especially for me, I see people that are like, oh well, you watch the beginning of 6, but then you go back for 3, and also I'm like, are you crazy? Like, no, like the whole reason that you're arguing to watch it in a different order is because they meant for you to feel something when certain stuff happens.
Yeah, it'd be like Iron Man 2 not understanding who Jensen is when he comes out, right, and tries to stop Stark, right? Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, but you're right. And I like I said, a week ago I would argue, but when I started to think about Metal Gear Solid, not even gameplay alone. Yeah, let's start with the worst and work our way up kind of a deal. But the reveals that we got in the Metal Gear Solid franchise, when 3 rolled on, you're like, oh, that's Big Boss.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't feel the same way if you started with Big Boss in 5.
Yeah.
And the reveal in 5 for Venom Snake, you'd be like, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Exactly.
To be fair. It didn't mean
All
much.
right, Tim, let's get back on
Metal Gear
track.
Solid 5, man. What a disappointment. What an amazing video game.
Why, Konami? Why did you do this?
I just want to know if what happened to Liquid Snake? What happened to little Liquid Snake?
What happened?
You're supposed to be in a whole action supposed to find
I know. I've heard all the rumors, leaks, and supposed. They're not rumors. They're not. I'm a total Metal Gear Solid fanboy. I was following all of that.
What do you look? What do you think of Death Stranding?
I was 100% against it.
Oh,
just being okay. So I love what he's done with Metal Gear Solid. I love Zone of the Enders. I love Police Knots. But when he got out of Konami, I was like, we're gonna find out one of 2 things. He is batshit crazy, or he's the greatest genius ever. And those first trailers for Death Stranding, I'm like, he's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And finally we got like that 8-minute trailer, and I'm like, I'm leaning back towards genius.
Yeah. Here we go.
I'm on the train, I think.
Deo, don't hurt me.
Anyway, so I got this list from Screen Rant. It looks like it came out the day after Endgame.
Okay.
So we've had leaks, or I mean, let me do air quotations for people watching live. Leaks. But here's what I love about leaks, and I know you guys get it in the gaming news all the time. No confirmed sources.
Never.
From anyone.
You don't need
especially it's like, oh, I'm on Reddit. Oh,
I got
this
an
thing's
uncle
happening.
that works at Nintendo. That's what he says you have.
But the bigger
You
thing
know
is,
how many people hit me up? I'm the comic guy, and I get messages. Hey, I got a guy that works at Sony, and he says this is happening. I'm like, do you now?
that's cool.
And you went to the comic guy to let
Right
him
to
know.
YouTube to publish it.
So we're specifically talking about Phase 4
Yes.
for leaks and rumors and stuff right now,
So
right?
we'll go
Like,
through their list, and then I want to get your guys' opinions as to what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I'll restate mine because you've never heard it, but I've said it a couple times before.
Love it.
Well, or at least what I would love to see.
What I find really interesting now is we're in an unprecedented state for the MCU, where we had always known what was coming next after that initial wave.
Yeah.
Right? We got the first couple movies, and then we knew that it was building towards Avengers. We knew what that lineup was going to be.
We knew we were getting to Thanos at the end.
Yes.
And we knew all the movies coming out in the middle.
And then Phase 2 was kind of like building a little bit more, where like every year at Comic-Con there'd be another reveal where it's like, oh, okay, we're getting Guardians. Oh, okay, we're gonna get Ant-Man. Oh,
Yep.
we're moving this way. Then they did that random Tuesday morning event where it's like, here's Phase 3. Here's what it's going to be. Here's all the dates. Here's everything. This is the first time we don't know what's next. We don't know, quote unquote.
The only
that
ones
Black
we do
Widow's
know.
Real.
Yes,
we don't know that Eternals is real.
No.
we
So they've
do.
confirmed Black Widow. They confirmed Doctor Strange 2. We already know about Spider-Man.
How'd they confirm Black Widow?
No, Black Widow has been confirmed.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because
Okay.
he even started filming. It's in Norway.
Well, I know that, but
Yeah.
I don't know that. I don't remember it being.
He's talking like Marvel or
confirmed.
Kevin
Like,
saying that for
Right,
sure.
where's the
Because
actual...
we know it's real. We know it's
Someone
happening.
in the Marvel camp has said that these are the ones. These are the confirmed ones. That is Black Widow. That is
Black Panther
Doctor
2,
Strange.
Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, and I think it's less confirmed by Marvel, like them coming out and going, these exist, and more like they're under contract. We know we're getting these. Like it's coming, and they're next.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all we truly have because we haven't had that conference. We haven't had that.
Yeah.
Here's the lineup.
I can't wait for that conference.
Oh, it's gonna be so amazing. So
If they do
okay.
it.
They'll do it, Tim.
Now
know.
this
At
one,
Disneyland.
no, they're gonna. I can see D23 being where they do it all now. That
Okay.
and Star Wars. You know,
We'll see.
isn't D23 this year?
Mm-hmm.
It is, right?
In
Yeah,
August,
it'll
yeah.
be conveniently after Spider-Man when you want the Phase 4 hype.
Yeah.
So, okay, the first rumor that they're going into is that based upon what Kevin Feige has said about Captain Marvel and the fact that Thor has gone off into space for Guardians of the Galaxy and all those other things, that we're going to have a very much large cosmic focus. Now, I can tell this was before the leaks because the leak states that we're going to have basically Earth and cosmic separate plot lines going on at one time.
I didn't hear this.
Yeah. So supposedly Captain Marvel, Guardians, there's talks of an Asgardians of the Galaxy.
That's what Guardians 3
Yeah,
has to be,
but
right?
there-
Asgardians of the
there's gonna
Galaxy.
be-
They're not
Volume
calling
1.
it that. Not a chance.
You don't think so? That the leak says that.
It's Guardians Galaxy Volume 3.
They're pushing
They'll
that
refer to
comic so
themselves
hard, though.
that way. I don't see them.
You know what I see it doing? I see it
bet they do
doing
it.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then like in the little red marker as in the front.
I'm down for that.
That's
but
what I see
feel
it
like the
being.
name of the movie is going to be Guardians.
Just Guardians 3?
Guardians Volume 3.
So
Guardians of
the other
Galaxy.
leak, so this is obviously before that. The other leak did state that we were going to get a urban ground-based one, and that's supposed to be focused on Norman Osborn and the Siege storyline. And then we're going to get a cosmic one, which will lead to Galactus, and they will both converge at the end of Phase 6.
Okay.
I'm in it. I believe it.
Wait. You're telling me we're gonna have a? I haven't. I don't.
So you haven't heard
I
any
don't
of these
keep up with
rumors?
movie
Okay.
news usually.
I did a whole video on the rumors. So if you want to, I'll link that down below. If you're like, wait, what rumors? Okay.
And then your channel again is youtube.com/IGN.
Yeah, no, it's youtube.com/kind of funny.
Gotcha.
Why would it be IGN?
Cosmic
Fake news over here, man.
Cosmic
Fake news.
over here, right? We're doing Galactus, right? And then you're saying the Earth one is going to be all about Norman Osborn.
Supposedly, yeah. So
That's
if
right.
you okay,
Now keep in mind, Norman Osborn, not Green Goblin.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Some
But
interesting
you know,
stuff.
he'll be in there.
In comic book,
Not Norman is Green. I'm not saying Green Goblin is Norman. Wait, go ahead.
quick recap, just a super
you.
condensed version.
Thank you.
Norman Osborn took credit for winning Secret Invasion, which gave him a bunch of power, which allowed him to take over. It was either Hammer or Shield or one of the big companies. He made the Dark Avengers, and they took over and squashed all the superheroes who then had to have a rebellion against them. And that was ends in Siege. Help me here.
Dark Siege?
It was Dark Reign Dark Avengers, Dark Siege. It was just Siege at the ending when they were trying to fight again. But it's like that was supposed to be phase 4, 5, and 6 if this leak is to be okay. And that's gonna be ground. Space is gonna have strongly featuring the Fantastic Four supposedly, and it's gonna be like as Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel, and it's gonna be the end of it all be Galactus. That's the leaks once again.
Yes.
Okay. So
this sounds awesome,
and they're all going to converge the ending of Phase 3 for some big bad.
This league to me is too good to be true.
I want to believe it.
It's too clean, and at the same time, I mean MCU that they're good. They know what they're doing now. They know how to kind of put the breadcrumbs that lead you where you got to go.
Yeah.
I think that even talking about Galactus, any conversation about that, I do think we're a little too early for that to be real.
Well, because they've already said, and they even said in the leaks, X-Men and Fantastic Four will not be around for Phase 4. Mm-hmm. Which I believe, because it was way too close to just start throwing them in there like that, you know? We might get mentions or something, but that's all I think we're ever going to get.
Yeah, Easter egg, just either a news headline or a post-credit scene where they're like, hey, a lot of fucking
ways we saw Doctor Strange
pop or something like that, yeah.
Wakanda tease, Doctor Strange tease, didn't as early as Iron Man 2, we started hearing different things.
So the second one on this list, and I used 100% before everything came out, that Falcon's going to take up the Captain America mantle, also confirmed.
I doubt it.
No, it's confirmed.
I'm fucking around.
Oh, I was like, what? You're the guy supposed to know this.
It was in the movie.
So they've already confirmed Disney Plus Falcon and Winter Soldier is Falcon as Captain America.
Is it him is the idea that it's like watch Bucky and Falcon try to teach Falcon to be Captain America? Okay.
And the leak portion of that, because that's all they've confirmed, is that we're also going to have one of the Carters in there and Baron Zemo's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah, sounds cool. I'm in for
Do
that.
they refer to him at any point as Captain Falcon?
They don't even come.
Yes.
They do not. They cannot.
I bet they will.
They have to make a joke about it. Yeah, they have to.
Okay, here's one that I have not seen
Question about
anywhere.
it, actually. I'm sorry, because you guys are the Marvel guys. I'm the DC guy. When he's Captain,
I'm definitely more.
Well, I know, but I mean, you're the Comicstorian.
Yeah, okay.
You know everything.
I do.
Tim, you're the Marvel guy.
I'm a genius.
When Falcon becomes Captain America here, is he still flying around, or did he just
he kept the wings?
Oh, yeah, I don't like that.
Dope ass.
No, I don't like that.
It was actually pretty cool.
Pick one. You gotta pick one.
What do you mean?
Why does he
You
gotta
gotta
pick one?
because that's
You
how
gotta
he
give him wings for a shield?
Serum or anything.
Why
It's just
not
a shield.
both?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Why doesn't he just pick up the hammer too and have it all? You know what I mean?
Why doesn't he?
Why does he have web shooters? Why doesn't he have Iron Man suits?
These are really good questions.
I know. Why doesn't he just have every power that's like a weapon?
I would love to see Greg Miller's 6-year-old drawing of his ultimate.
Here's everything.
And it has web shooters and it has wings too.
And it's also got the hammer. The hammer.
See, even 6-year-old Greg Miller knew that was a dumb idea. Too much power.
All right. So next on our list we got
Superman fan.
the embodiment of can't be killed.
You know what? Don't start. All right, don't start.
A-Force is going to show up. I think they're basing this one off that little teaser at the ending where all the women in the MCU get together.
What's A-Force?
So in
Women
comics,
Adventures.
A-Force is all the women in the MCU get together and make a team.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It started as a Battle Worlds book where it was like, oh, Captain Marvel leads this team, and then it did so well that they made an A-Force book, and it continued on, and then it got canceled because it didn't do so well.
Gotcha.
And I think it was one of those like, it's a great concept, but we don't know what to do with it. Like that kind of an idea.
And I feel like that this won't necessarily work in the universe that we have currently. I think that maybe in a couple years we can get there, but I feel like it would feel a bit too forced given the current storylines, especially if we're branching cosmic and Earth-based. Like
and other than Captain Marvel, no woman character in the movies has enough. Like maybe Hope for Wasp, but other than the two of them, no one has any real plot behind them at this point.
Yeah, Valkyrie. I mean,
right? She's
arguably.
Yeah,
but
she's definitely supporting cast.
Yeah.
You could at least argue that Wasp was in the marquee and is a main character in her movie. Captain Marvel was a main character in her movie. The movie was about them learning how to be heroes. Valkyrie was more like, well, it's Thor, Hulk, and Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, based on I just learned about it, I would say I don't believe that. You know what I mean? I think that it was very much that was a cool moment in the movie to be like, hey, everybody, on the nose for sure, but hey, everybody, we have a really strong female population here of superheroes. And everybody was like, yeah, that's awesome. But honestly, they'd be like, you know what, we need to get on a movie right away for that.
First, I want to say, I loved the scene. I thought the scene made no sense. Because you have Captain Marvel that's going to fly across everyone, and they're like, we've got her. And I'm like, no, she's just going to rocket off. Like, what are you here for? And half of you were across the battlefield.
It's cool stuff, man.
It was a cool
love that type of
scene,
fan service.
but when you like try to look at it, you're like back up Wasp or back up somebody who needs help. It's Captain Marvel. Because didn't she like rocket right off anyway?
Yeah, but then you
get the job
you
done,
just
though,
needed that one yes moment. That's it. You needed the shot.
I mean, like I said, the shot was great. I loved the shot. But when you try to break it down, you're like, no, that doesn't work.
I was done thinking at that point. I was just having a good time.
Oh yeah, well in the theater I was like yes, and then as afterwards you think about it. Just like when Cap grabs the hammer, you're not thinking about it like how did he magically know how to do everything with it?
He's powerful.
Even in the comic books he can't do it all.
Yeah, but hey man, it was worth it. So
It's pretty easy, swinging around.
Like, I got the swinging it, I got the throwing it, but when he called lightning, I was kind of like,
hey, he felt it, man.
it just
felt it in
was
his
a
jellies.
tingling.
He's feeling himself, yeah.
All right, so next they're saying that we're gonna have new Avengers. I think that one's almost on the nose.
You have to, right?
Yeah, but when though? That's my thing. Is I feel like it might be a while till we get this. Like we gotta get sequels first. We got to get sequels for these characters that really kind of set them up in that way. Like Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, all of them I feel need a bit more to get to that point.
Yeah. The league stated we wouldn't have an actual team called the New Avengers till Phase 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
That we're going to get like other Avengers movies, but they're not going to be like Avengers.
Now, here's the thing. We're talking about Phase 6 here.
Yeah.
We're going into 4.
Yeah.
3 was years long.
Oh,
Phase 6
wasn't
we're looking
3
at
the longest of them? I
Yeah, so it's like if we're going off that, Phase 6 is what, 2030?
Yeah, I know.
Like,
It's
literally.
like, yeah.
You know, I don't know. That's way too far.
For them to have this, I mean, if this leak were accurate and they were talking Phase 6, I see it as being as concrete as George Lucas's 7, 8, and 9.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I have an outline and I know where I want to go, but I don't know how we're getting there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to look at the realities of it right now. What we know for a fact is that for the next 3-4 years, I think it is, we got the dates for the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
We know when they're coming. We don't know which one goes where. We can kind of use our brains to place things here and there, but that doesn't necessarily lead into a big event movie in the same way. And we don't even know that at the end of these dates that's the end of Phase 4. And I also think that the delaying of Guardians 3 kind of messes everything up, where I'm sure they would love to get to the point where they're having, especially now with the introduction of more Spider-Man sequels, X-Men movies, Fantastic Four movies, eventually get into the 4 movies a year point. Like that would be obviously the goal for them, right? That would just print money. But right now, next year, we only got 2 movies.
I know, and I'm kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
And then you look at the DC roster and you're like, oh.
That's going to keep going.
What are you talking about? Joker?
We have Joker and Wonder
The
Woman
Batman.
1984 and the Birds of Prey movie.
In the Batman.
The Batman, but that has no date yet.
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad. All those.
All right, next up we have the rumor that they're thinking is we're going to get as Guardians of the Galaxy. We already spoke about this.
I think they're going to call it As Guardians of the Galaxy.
But like I said, I can see the normal Guardians of the Galaxy font and then as kind of written in the front of it.
Yeah.
I give it a 20% chance that they actually call it that. I just feel like that's starting to get to a point where you're losing brand recognition in a mainstream way. I know it's a small little change, but As Guardians is a much more kind of nebulous thing than Guardians to,
Sure, of course,
to
of
people
course.
that aren't us, that aren't sitting
know.
at a table talking about comic books, you know?
I still think they're going to do it. I think Endgame was successful enough that enough people would get it and be stoked for it.
Yeah, I think of the Galaxy may be enough to sell the name. So even if you change that first name, you may lose a couple people, but I think overall they're not.
Yeah, I'm just saying I doubt it. I don't think that it's like impossible, but
Right.
I think more likely is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Can I punch you in the face if they do it?
Sure.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Heard
Barrett.
it-
Write it down in the
heard it
bed
here
book.
first.
Okay, wait, hold on. If you do that, I'm going to film it to follow up on another podcast here.
Sure.
If you like these guys punching each other.
We got that.
Number 5 on their list is that we're going to get a lot of prequels to help fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's also another one on the nose. We already got Black Widow, so if that does well, we're going to see a bunch.
I don't think so.
You don't?
I think Black Widow is going to be what it is.
What if they did like a Falcon movie where he got his wings?
No way.
No.
I'm too far
We're
ideas.
too
Too
far. No. I don't mean to. I don't mean not.
Yeah,
I think it'd be more likely that whatever X-Men or Fantastic Four movie you got would be a prequel in quotes to the timeline to explain what they were doing while all this was happening or how abilities got started.
Can you imagine, like, the X-Men are actually formed during Endgame?
And they do nothing.
And everyone does, and they're like, well, those Avengers guys got it.
Well, I mean, it's just I'm a short-sighted little man, so I don't know. But like for me,
Right.
like when you start talking about how are you going to introduce mutants to this world and make it make sense, I'm of the online community that's like, well, you know, Rocket makes that point of like, since the snap, there's been more, what is it? Not Stardust.
Surge of energy.
Yeah, whatever. Cosmic energy on this planet than ever. And so I'm like, I could see that happening of
Yeah.
this thing. And then all of a sudden for those 5 years, like the reason Endgame doesn't go into the fact that a lot of people have weird things going on because like people are still coming to terms as their bodies change and do all this stuff. They're getting hair where they didn't have hair before. You know what I mean? They're getting all sorts of weird
Wacky.
urges, like claws. Like,
What do I do with these? I want to stab people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you look at especially recent times with Disney, prequels aren't where it's at, right? Like if they're looking at Solo, I don't think that they're going to use that as the basis for how they're going to want to market their Marvel movies.
Prequels, maybe
This is
not.
Barry Courtney from kindoffunny.com. What's up?
Yeah, what's up? Running the show.
He's calling it in, right?
Yeah, so we could do movies in that 5-year gap, though. And, like, it's kind of a prequel, not really, but fill in the gaps of, like, what were those people, like, out in space? Like, what was Captain Marvel up to? What was Rhodey up to? Like, finding Clinton Barton and all that stuff. Like, I think those could be your, like, quote-unquote prequel movies that they fill in gaps with.
My thing is they could be. I just don't think that when you compare that to... Yeah, like, that's the... We have Disney Plus for stuff like that. Black Widow, I am hoping beyond hope is that. I hope that it takes place in that 5 years. I do not need an origin story for Black Widow. We got it in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, no, we did. We know her history, which is why when they're like, it's a prequel and it's going to be her on a mission, I'm like, better be good, because...
I assumed it was just going to be Budapest. Right? That's the one they talk about every time, right?
I mean, and no one really knows. They've said
That's
nothing
like seeing the Kessel Run in Solo.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Yeah, it was awesome, and it had dice.
Well, oh my God, the Kessel Run. Don't even get me... Okay. My problem with Solo is we didn't ask for any of those answers. Like what it...
You didn't want to know how he got his last name?
I've been wondering about his last name
I didn't want to
forever.
know how he met Chewie. I didn't want to know how he got his blaster. Like, I thought blasters were disposable. The Kessel Run itself, I always thought was an awesome race. How else would other people know about it? Oh no, it's a top secret run from a base through a storm. What? That doesn't even make sense that the whole galaxy would know what the Kessel Run is.
And that's why I don't want to know more about Budapest. Period.
All right, so next up is another one that's already been confirmed by the Disney Plus announcements,
Gotcha.
alternate realities. So Spider-Man confirmed multiverse, and we already know,
All right, don't get ahead of yourself.
we already know that the Loki that got away in Endgame is going to be...
Oh, we do know that?
He's an alternate Loki, and that show is about that Loki.
That's awesome.
And I think, from what I'm understanding, the reasoning is the real Loki that we know, he redeemed. He was fully redeemed, and he died.
Right.
He's not going to be as interesting as comically mischievous Loki roaming the multiverse. So if Loki's roaming the multiverse in his Disney Plus show...
Is he roaming the multiverse or just in his
Supposedly.
one timeline?
Well, even if it's one timeline, it's still a multiverse. So because everyone's
Fair.
like, oh, Mysterio's fake in the multiverse. I don't think so, because Nick Fury says it. If we had a
Do you
scene...
think that's really Nick Fury?
That's the only thing that could be the hole in my thing. But if it is Nick Fury, then I don't think I think it is a multiverse, especially if we have a show about an alternate universe Loki roaming around. The what if universes are
The
coming out.
multiverse is confirmed.
Yeah.
They confirmed it in Doctor Strange.
That's what I mean. Like, so I don't see them-
already a thing in the MCU. How far down the rabbit hole they go with this, I don't think that it's going to be him jumping from universe to universe.
No.
I think it's going to be 2012 Loki, that splintered timeline.
Yep.
Doing what
Tom Hiddleston's like, I like this role. I'll keep doing it.
Hell yeah.
I'm
I
all
like the
about that.
paychecks.
All right, next up. You want to read this one and just tell me how stupid of a prediction this is?
New characters is what they put on this list.
Is that Captain Britain? Yeah. All right, good luck.
God bless.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you know what I think we're going to get in the future of Marvel? More characters and ones you don't expect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. They're going to make us
Guarantee it.
care about him too?
Yeah.
See, this is why we look at these lists, because it's funny to go, wow, clickbait's a thing these days.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would not be surprised to see Captain Britain soon-ish. You know, like
If we're doing the
maybe in not
multiverse, yes.
6 movies, but like down the line.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Next up for number 2, we got a next big bad. They're theorizing that it's going to be, they're showing Norman Osborn.
Take it to the bank, man.
Yeah, they're saying Norman Osborn or Doctor Doom.
Do you think Norman Osborn gets introduced in Far From Home?
I
Or
think
there's a nod to him?
if he
or-
does-
I mean, there was a nod to him, obviously.
I feel like if he does, that's confirmation in all the leaks.
Me too.
To an
well,
extent,
not
at
all of the
least.
leaks,
Yeah.
but at least like the general idea. I am willing to bet that it's Oscorp Tower by the end of Far From Home, and I'm willing to bet more than that. That we're getting a Sinister Six tease in the post credits that somehow involves Norman Osborn.
Supposedly,
I don't think we necessarily see him.
Yeah.
but
Did you know the leak on the Sinister Six?
I don't know. Leak. I know there's rumors that like people are saying
The
same
leak
thing I am.
is that they're going to probably, if they can, the problem is they want to do Sinister Six, but they're trying to get A-list actors for all of Spider-Man's villains, so Michael Keaton, Jake Gyllenhaal, and they're going to keep doing that. And then if they can get the schedules to line up, we'll get Sinister Six, but if they can't, they're all just going to disperse. That's the rumors on it. And that if it happens, it'll be an actual fourth movie.
See, I'm stealing this from Tim, but I when I was watching the trailer for Far From Home, I was like, I don't believe the multiverse thing. I think Mysterio's just saying stuff to say stuff, right? But I was like, I don't understand how he could trick Nick Fury. And then it was Tim that was like, well, there's rumors it's Chameleon.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
That's getting more and more confirmed by the day with
Bro, they've already confirmed the multiverse.
TV spots coming out and stuff. Like you see Dimitri's name and stuff. So I feel like they can. I mean, we'll know in a month.
Yeah, we're gonna know in a month. It's fine to speculate, and then we'll see who's right and who's wrong and all that other stuff. But with the Norman thing, and for the record, even if some of these leaks are true, they could easily be changed. None of this stuff's actually going forward, because a lot of people go like, well, unless every leak was hit, well, then the whole leak was fake. Like, no, I mean, the things that are planned for the next year could be accurate, and then they change everything.
See, I don't buy the Sinister Six A-list actors thing, because we already know Scorpion's not. He's just some dude.
Is he in there?
That guy. Yeah,
Where's
I imagine he will be.
He was in Homecoming.
Was he?
Yeah, he was one. Remember when he walks up to, he's face to face with, he has a scorpion tattoo on his back.
Oh, yeah, but he doesn't get the suit, does he?
No, not yet. But
Okay. Shocker was in there. I know that.
And we already saw that, like, Shocker can just be passed on and on and on.
Yeah.
Right? So you could pass it to an A-list actor.
But I feel like we're going to get a post-credit scene in this that is going to include Scorpion in a more
Scorpion,
looking like
Mysterio,
Mysterio, Vulture, and Shocker, and Chameleon potentially. I feel like they're going to go all out with it. We've seen a lot of bad guys.
Here we go. He just had a light bulb moment. Hold on, everybody.
Prowler.
Bing. Oh, that'd be cool. Bring in Prowler.
Sorry. Donald Glover as Prowler.
That could work.
Because he was in.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And he had a nephew that he was trying to take care of.
Yeah. But what if, guys?
Oh, God. Hold on, everybody.
He lost Miles in the 5 years.
Through the snap, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because of that, turns to
went
evil.
bad. Huh.
He was just a thug.
Now he's proud.
It would also be a great way to keep Miles young. That way we can keep making these movies, and it doesn't make sense while, like, Miles is going to be too old to take over the mantle.
There you go.
Kevin, send us the check. We just did it for you. We saved the MCU.
The last of these of their rumors is there will be no more Avengers, which also lines up with the leak that we're not going to get one until Phase 6. They're going to try to go away from it because the groups are kind of disbanded, and Cosmic and Earth, and we'll see. That one I find hard to believe.
I think you would, because you want to give it space to breathe, right? Everyone, mainstream audiences know who the Avengers are.
Right, so we're just not going to have a big finale to Phase 4?
I don't know, man.
Or we do it Civil War style.
Yeah, I was going to say you could do a Civil War thing, right?
I feel like
Captain
Phase
Marvel
4
Civil War.
it might not even be called Phase 4. Like, I feel like the idea of phases might not exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's more now, especially what we're talking about, like the storylines kind of splitting in a real way. I don't necessarily think we're going to get this galactic tease that we're working towards. At least not now. I think that right now there's like kind of a break moment of introducing new characters and getting the characters that we've been introduced to in the last couple of years up to the point where you see them as the Avengers, the new Avengers.
You got to build them up, because, I mean, it took forever for us to see the Avengers the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, unless you were reading Marvel comics back in the day. But the Avenger team that we got in the first one isn't like the Avengers. They had been working on that for years to make you see that as the Avengers. The Avengers was always like all the B and C list superheroes that no one cared about.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, and you'd have Captain America show up and be like, "Hey everyone, let's go!
We're a team.
Avengers assemble!
We're doing it."
Yeah. By the way, you guys go fight it. I'm gonna go off of here with Tony. We're gonna do some other stuff.
Yeah.
The Avengers and even the Justice League were both books that were intended to carry characters that they didn't think could make a comic.
Yeah.
And the version we got, which was Hulk, Iron Man wasn't really as big as everyone likes to think he was. Fun story, if you look into how they started the MCU, apparently the big problem they had was everyone assumed Iron Man was a robot, apparently.
Really?
I was like, I never saw that, but I could see if you don't know superheroes, you just see a robot.
Well, I mean,
Samus is a girl.
Somebody who read, comics growing up, DC though, and read Wizard magazine, right, every month. When we got to, they're gonna start making Iron Man movies. The only thing I knew about him was, all right, he's rich and he's an alcoholic. right? Because the only Iron Man comic anybody ever talked about in Wizard was Demon in a Bottle.
Yeah.
Of like that was like such a big turning point.
Iron Man was just like Daredevil, just like Moon Knight. It had a loyal fan base.
Yeah.
He had great stories that everyone would reference to, but his ongoing was not a popular book.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Captain America may have been low at that period too. But either way, the reason they had the rights to those characters is they weren't big hitters.
Yeah.
They didn't sell.
They had sold everything off.
Yeah, they sold Spider-Man. They sold
X-Men.
They sold
Fantastic Four.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Ghost Rider was not like that. Like a lot of people don't seem to realize that because we look at the Marvel comics as Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America. This is the Trinity over there. Oh, Thor. He's the Trinity for them. But
it wasn't like that, man.
No,
it wasn't like
times.
that, Tim.
I know you're younger, right? You're like 19, 17.
No, I am 29 now.
Forbes 30 to 30.
But even then, I grew up with the Fox cartoons and all of that. But it's like, that didn't mean that they were good.
No.
Like, I had an Iron Man action figure, but like I didn't know much about a story.
Yeah, I had an Iron Man
the
action
Iron Man
figure
cartoon
too.
wasn't great.
I had the Iron Man action figure, and he was cool because, of course, his like suit popped off. You know what I mean? It was like a cool thing. Like, oh man, cool.
So,
Yeah.
that segue kind of let me lose our train of thought. Where were we?
I mean, we're talking about Phase 4,
Phase
baby.
4,
We're talking about
baby.
what these
I can't
movies
wait.
are gonna be.
You've all got me very excited about it.
See, I kind of agree with you that we're not going to have phases. And I think they're going away from the concept of the phase because 3 kind of proved that. We're like, Spider-Man's in Phase 3. Wait, is it? When did we decide that, everyone? I thought Endgame was the end here.
I feel, that is a weird thing that they did seemingly last minute.
Yeah.
And I wonder why. I wonder
the
if that
trailer
was,
shows that it was always intended to be that
and
way.
that's my thing. It's like, I wonder if that was just trying to like not spoil things, which gets weird. But looking forward to the movies, like we know Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
We know that
Strange.
Guardians 3, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2. Do you think Black Panther? Like my bet is Black Panther 2 introduces Namor.
I thought that was supposed to be Doctor Strange.
I mean, maybe
The director, I think, I might be wrong. The director from one of those 2 movies tweeted out a comic panel.
It was the director of Doctor Strange.
It was Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, so apparently the current running rumor is he tweeted that out because
Interesting.
Namor is going to fight Doctor Strange.
That's a weird fight, isn't it?
I
Or is it not?
buy it more in Black Panther.
No, it is because
though.
Black Panther is like his actual. Recently, they've been fighting.
I mean, that makes sense. Atlantis versus Wakanda, that's awesome, first
Yeah.
off. And on top of that, in Endgame, there's the scene early on where there's all the holograms.
What's
And,
Wakanda?
and it's, how do you say her name? Okaye?
Okoye.
Okoye.
Okoye. And she's like talking about like, oh yeah, there's
been an earthquake in the middle of the
So, like, what are you
ocean.
going to do with earthquakes? It's earthquakes. Cool.
Yeah.
But like earthquakes in the
punching
ocean,
things.
he's punching things like, until proven otherwise, I believe that. And then we got Shang-Chi. I believe that as well.
Yeah, I believe that one is confirmed.
Which one's that?
So you remember
The
the whole,
Master of Kung Fu.
remember the big uproar of Iron Fist should be an Asian actor.
Yes.
Even though Iron Fist is a blonde kid in the comics, the whole point is that he falls in and runs all this. Shang-Chi is the actual Asian martial arts character in the comic books.
Okay.
Modeled after Bruce Lee.
Okay.
And he knows all of the martial arts.
Yeah.
Very well. He's not a superhero. He's just really damn cool.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen rumors of like it's not even going to be called Shang-Chi. It's just going to be called Master of Kung Fu.
Yeah, I think they're going
which
to go
is
with his title.
Dope.
Yeah.
And like they're talking about it having a much more like gritty hip hop aesthetic and be much more like in the streets.
Yep.
I am so in.
Oh, I'm totally on board
rumors
with that.
of Mandarin being involved. The Mandarin being
Oh, the real
involved
one
in it.
that we found
The
at
real
a
one.
DVD extra?
And Kevin Feige recently confirmed on that AMA he did on Reddit. He was saying that Mandarin's going to return. Mandarin,
Which explains
the real
why they
Mandarin.
brought him back. I know you guys did watch the year in review or whatever you called MCU, where you did all of them, right?
Yeah,
Did
MCU
you
review.
watch those little teaser things, the extra
Extra
ones?
credit,
shots.
yeah.
Okay, so like you saw the Thor getting a roommate, and you saw Mandarin coming back, and
It's good stuff.
I
man.
still want to believe
want more
Thor
of
getting a
those.
roommate is in continuity, and with the way he acted, Big Lebowski Thor,
Yeah.
I kind of believe it was a
Yeah.
thing now.
I'm in, man.
So this is in the same vein of all this. Where do you think Disney Plus, Disney in general, Phase 4 leaves Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones? Is that just done? Because when it did end, there were things like there was some vague, I forget what comment from who, but of like not the actors, but of somebody at Marvel of like, well, they still mean to stuff, and we, kind of a wink and a nod that they were going to try something like. Do you think they ever resurface on Disney Plus in a new form, or is that
I
just
bet
over?
in a new form, yes.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be related at all to those shows and
Yeah.
those storylines or anything. That's too messy. There's too many decisions that have been made that just don't gel well with what I believe to be the future of where MCU is going. And I think that we could see the same actors. You know, I'd love to see John Bernthal as the Punisher.
I like Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
MCU, and I can see them, bringing them back, but just being new, fresh characters.
Okay.
Unrelated to what they were.
Netflix
But I also
only.
can see them just totally recasting.
I could see there being a big hoopla about it and actually bring them all back. Just because the Netflix shows were tied into what happened. There was mention. They're very, very loosely tied in.
It was always like the event.
Yeah,
And
but they
always
did mention them. They did talk about them. And once the deal's done, if Disney wants to pay the money and is willing to get the original seasons back up, or like put them on Disney Plus, then I could see that maybe they would. Their plan is to continue it.
I feel like Kevin Feige just has such a distaste for those, and like with all of the stuff that went on with the showrunner Perlmutter, I think his name was.
Well, that was the Agents of Shield guy. Was he involved in Netflix? I thought Netflix was more attached to the.
From what I understand, there was the reason that Inhumans was part of the original lineup was because of a lot of this
Right.
shakeup
Well,
and stuff.
so there's the TV arm, then there was the Netflix arm, and then there's the MCU. And I don't know where the Netflix arm fell.
I mean, it wasn't under Kevin.
Yeah.
And there was decisions being made that he did not sign off on, and he was the one in charge.
So it was
of
probably
MCU.
under the normal TV arm. Then.
So to me, I'm like, I can't imagine him wanting to be like, all right, we're gonna retcon this in. It's like there's been nothing done in the last 10 years that shows me that they have interest in doing that.
Well, it's kind of like the Agents of Shield. Like it was initially kind of really wrapped in, and then it got loosely wrapped in, and then they just started ignoring it, and now we're just gonna ignore Ghost Rider and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Are we?
And
they're doing a Hulu show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hulu show for Ghost Rider.
With the same actor though.
But if I'm and you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, I believe it's the same actor, but it's going to be a totally new origin.
Yeah.
They're going to start him over. They're probably going to line him up with his actual origin instead of trying to
weird
retcon
stuff,
it.
Yeah, that's the problem. This is
getting
like
messy.
when we were talking in the last podcast with Nick about it, right? Where I love the idea right now that I want to know everything about the MCU, right? You watch 22 movies. You know, that sounds goofy, but there's 22 movies and then you're caught up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know the Easter eggs. Okay, Coulson showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., whatever, but you get it. And you know, you have all the required reading. You've hit everything. Whereas when we do get into this Disney Plus stuff, are these tie-ins? Am I going to see
They are.
Captain America show up now, whatever
Yes.
movie's happening, and then like
They said that the actors that go in the shows on Disney Plus will come back to the movies.
I mean, they're straight up saying that like these are just as important to the MCU as the movies
Have
are.
they talked about how long? Is it going to be
6
22?
episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're
episode
like 6
runs,
to
man.
7
I mean,
each.
and again, that's like not a guarantee for all of them, but the leaked stuff for Falcon and Bucky.
no, that wasn't leaked. That's them. They said that.
for that one.
Yeah.
And, well, they're also talking about doing it for not for Loki, but for
I thought Loki's supposed to be 12.
WandaVision.
Oh, right.
WandaVision's supposed to be short.
Yeah,
I think
and then
Loki's supposed to
Loki
be
could
like a
be-
12 or
Okay,
something.
I'm in
But
then for
Loki
it.
doesn't. You're going to know off the bat that it's not the same Loki. It doesn't matter.
To me, this shows that they understand that people's time is valuable and that you can't throw too much stuff that everyone needs to partake in.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like the level of drip feeding, especially when I was talking about they're at that 3 movies a year release schedule, right? And next year there's only 2 movies. You can kind of fill that gap with these Disney Plus shows. If they get people in on Disney Plus, which at the price point that they're talking about,
I mean,
they're going to get a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's like if you prove that like no, these are real MCU shows. It's not like before. These are MCU shows with the actors that you know.
Yeah.
Captain America at any moment could be there. Or whoever. Captain America's not the best example, but like,
Yeah, he's kind of gone.
so, yeah, but somebody could pop up, and you're like, oh man, even if it's just a brief cameo, like in the earlier movies, like even with Dark World, like seeing Loki turn into Captain America
cool.
for that 1 second,
Yeah.
that was cool. We can get that here.
Hell yeah.
Hell
yeah.
I think they're going to invest
I'm
heavily.
stoked.
in
Yeah.
that.
Stuff.
I actually agree with you on the way they're drip feeding it because it's actually what I like about the DC Universe app. I don't know if you've watched
Oh, yeah.
Titans and Doom Patrol and Young Justice and now we got Swamp Thing. The fact that it is one at a time every week. I can watch one and I'm okay. In comparison to, because I know you guys mentioned the Flash show and all those, the CW has just gotten insane.
Yeah.
It was fine when it was
22
you watch
episodes,
Arrow and
there's
you watch
4
Flash.
different series. Oh
yeah,
my God.
4 different series. They're doing more. And
This
you're
is
like,
what it comes down to, though, is there's rules of syndication, and there's money that needs to be made,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's licensing fees, and there's the old thing that's never changed, where you need to hit 65 episodes
Yeah.
in order to get into syndication, which essentially means you're guaranteeing money and royalties and all this stuff. So they're not trying to make good TV; they're trying to make quantity.
quota.
They're trying to hit quotas, and
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of things. We got to do this. We need 3 seasons. We need this. We need this.
They need a
this-
filler episode.
Exactly. They need all of these decisions you made. We need crossovers. Whereas I feel like because of Disney Plus, the luxury, it's similar to HBO. It's like there's money there. inherently. You don't need to worry about advertisements. You don't need to worry about syndication or anything. You are the syndication. You are the platform. All you need to worry about is making sure that there is a level of quality that's being hit. And when Kevin Feige is the guy who has so far not failed at creating this beautifully curated and crafted world of content, I believe in that.
No, I agree 100%. I'm excited to see, because my biggest complaint about the CW shows is they go on too long.
Oh yeah.
Most of their plots, if you did 13 episodes, that show would have been fine.
Yeah.
But there's always like half
Trim
the
the fat,
seasons of each of them is always just bullshit, just to get it through, you know?
Barry and Iris are fighting again. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Okay, great.
What is it this time?
But six episodes
that's
of Sebastian
awesome.
Stan and Anthony Mackie. I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
Can't wait.
look, just to take it to Game of Thrones for a moment, Game of Thrones had a few filler episodes in each of the seasons, even though they were only like 13 or 10 episodes. You'd have one or two that were
less.
filler.
I wouldn't say that.
And it's funny because I feel like season 8 needed the filler, but
Conversation for another day, my friend.
All right.
I don't know that I have that in me.
we're hitting up the end of the time here. So what do you want in Phase 4? What is your want? What is your want?
Man, I'm loving the idea of Norman Osborn being the
awesome.
big bad. You know.
Okay.
Oh, there's the one rumor we haven't talked about is the Thunderbolts movie.
Oh yeah, they're going to try to compete with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, the idea kind of being that Norman has been in that 5 years. There's the vacuum of power and gets the Abomination and gets Zemo and gets kind of like the villains that have lived throughout the movies that we've seen.
Yeah. You named the two of them.
Yeah, but there's been other bad guys
Bacon
too
guy.
that they like would kind of introduce.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Zemo. That they would kind
my
of
apologies.
introduce into that, and like that could be cool. I feel like we're not quite ready for that yet. And there's always the problem of making a movie about a bad guy is hard to feel sympathetic for the character. The moment you feel too sympathetic, he's not a bad guy anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like they did a great job with Thanos, but we always talk about how Infinity War was a Thanos movie, but it's like, we're just being cute with that. It was an Avengers movie.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah.
My hope is I'm a simple man, as I've said before on this show. I hope that Tony Stark becomes the voice in the Spider-Man suit.
That would be a cool way to kind of keep him around, but not like have to get him back. Because I guarantee you, part of him leaving contract is way too expensive at this point. But the other thing, God has to be slightly like, I don't think he wants to do all the work to get in shape to go carry 100%. The suit.
And so that's the thing is like, here you just do VO. And like at the very least, like I was saying in our last one, right? Like I hope he puts on the glasses or at some point gets the line from Tony that, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And I don't know how they deliver that. That's one of my nerdy hopes for like what we get out of Far From Home. And I think though having him in the suit would be just a fun way to do it. Even if he eventually, maybe at the end of Far From Home, he switches it back to Karen.
Yeah.
Right. Of like, you're
like someone who saves the voicemail of someone
you're not
who passed
Mr.
on.
Stark, and I need to do this on my own.
Yeah.
And okay, kids, see you later.
Yeah.
You know.
I feel like we're getting some form of that in Far From Home for sure. I just think that because Far From Home is the next movie after he died, it's a little too soon to like go all in on that. Like if the next Spider-Man movie was 6 movies from now, I feel like then I'd be like, make him the AI right now. But I feel like we kind of got to let Peter be Peter.
That's what we were talking about in the last one, and I think turning him off or switching back to Karen would be. This is definitely the epilogue to Endgame, right, where it needs to be Spider-Man for really becoming Spider-Man, being the Spider-Man who is swinging from skyscrapers and is the hero of New York.
I mean, think about it. We haven't seen Tom Holland really swing through a city.
Yeah.
We in Infinity War, we kind of got him getting pulled by Squidward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And we got
bridge,
there's just swinging from a bridge, but it's like
Super
we haven't
low.
seen.
He hasn't gone around One World Trade or any of that jazz.
No.
All right. Well, just so you guys know, the current running hope I have is that all of these rumors are wrong. They're going to introduce the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in their own separate universes, so they don't convolute anything.
Okay.
Build them both up in their own movies. Maybe Fantastic Four gets 1 or 2, but X-Men gets all these movies for the next 5 to 7 years. And at the end of all of this, this is my nerd dream: Secret Wars. We get Battle World. They all get collided into one world and have to fight. And then at the end of that, they're all in the same worlds, but they all got their own origins properly.
Nice.
And you'll just get some back and forth, like, oh, how did you get here? Oh, we're mutants. Oh, we'll explain that later. Or you can watch all our movies.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
Tim's
but-
talked about it before, building to Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
That would be awesome. I kind of don't want what you're saying to happen at all.
You don't want Battle World?
Dude, we have had 20 years of X-Men movies having their origins and doing what you're talking about. And like, granted, that didn't.
It wasn't the Disney version, though.
No, it wasn't. But like,
and do it like Spider-Man, where we don't really get an origin per se.
I want them in the MCU.
Just right now.
Yeah. No, not right now. I want them to take your time, do it right, do it right. But like, I want a new take. I want a really new take on the X-Men. I want it to be completely modern. I want
I'll probably go with the Ultimate one then, where it was like it's just a follow-up with the Super Soldier Serum.
I'm down.
Yeah.
You know, I want something that is like, it's 2019, mutants are here now. Let's deal with that. Let's deal with the beginning of mutants being.
Can we at least agree on one thing on the X-Men?
What?
A live-action version of Morph.
100%.
Okay, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Thank you so much for joining us today. You can catch us live on twitch.tv/EligiBleMonster every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, or right here on Comicstorian every Saturday, or check your Spotify, your iTunes, and all kinds of wonderful jazz over there. If you want to talk more to Greg and Tim, where can they find you guys?
YouTube.com/kindafunny.
Exactly.
Subscribe. We also have the podcast stuff too, and there's lots of channels, but just go there.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here at the Comics Experiment.